Hi, this is Sheenie. So today I wanted to talk about how powerful prayer and manifestation is. And I'm going to preface with the fact that I've just been avoiding the word manifestation and even the idea of manifestation ever since becoming a Christian last year. So I was baptized October 22nd, 2023. And even while studying the Bible for 9 months prior before making my decision, I just was like, is manifestation with witchcraft? Like I used to just be really into astrology. I felt just not comfortable bringing that into my life as a Christian. But as my Christianity journey has matured, thank goodness, still studying the Bible every day, still praying, still have a very close relationship with God, and hopefully it's strengthening. I realized that honestly, manifestation, God, he supports that because he wants you to have your heart's desires. And oftentimes the timing, it pretty much is always up to him. The timing and the way it comes to you, it might not be packaged exactly as you imagined, but it's his timing, and he's basically in collaboration with you to gain your heart's desires. So I decided, after watching some YouTubers, one specifically, Mina Irfan, she talks a lot, I think it's the Universe Guru, I think is her YouTube name. So she talks a lot about manifestation. She also has a relationship with God, only God and her know their relationship together, but she talks about him. So she's not just saying there's no God and we do it all ourselves, because obviously nothing would exist if it weren't for God. It's not just based on what we do. Just life is just so grand, and it's just, I don't know, it's beyond even like human capability. Just everything, nature, every creation, we as humans, how we came here. So basically I wanted to put like manifestation back into effect, because I almost felt like as a Christian, was I just submitting myself to a more lowly life? Like that can happen just by accident, because you feel like, God wants you to be humble-hearted for sure, always, and then also, your needs are being taken care of by God, but you don't want it to be to the point of like complacency. And I wouldn't say I was there. It's just, I had a lot bigger dreams and wishes. So I'm like, hey, let's try this on a smaller scale. So after I did a few mantras and prayers, I said, okay, you know what, God, I am open to all and any way of receiving blankety blank. So for me, it was more money. I want more money. So I was like, okay, God, I'm open to receiving more money in any way that you want me to receive it, in any and in all ways, not just what you would, reap, like from working, or I don't know, money that you're expecting from an inheritance, or, money that you get from your husband, right? So I was like, I'm open to it. I don't know how it's going to happen, and I don't need to know how it's going to happen. So I literally said that mantra a whole bunch of times. Within 10 minutes, this is how amazing it is. Within 10 minutes, I get a Facebook notification. So I've had a luxury designer purse on there for a few months. So it's a mini Lady Dior. I bought it in like 2021. I had it for 3 years. I maybe wore it for 6 months. I wore it a lot in the 6 months, but I just became like done with it. Like I was just like, you know what, this isn't conducive to my lifestyle, especially because it's quite small and I have a young child. I couldn't really fit things in it. And I just, when I would look at it, I just had no feelings left for it, like no love left for it, which is not how I feel about my other purses that I have, even if I don't wear them. This one I was wearing a lot and I just felt done with it. So I threw up that purse on Facebook Marketplace a few months ago. I actually had it on Poshmark as well. Anyways, I was like tolling with it for a while, whether I should sell it or not, because, well, first of all, I was like, I won't be able to buy this purse back at the same price, because I think I bought it for, I think it was like $5,500, and then with tax, it was like $6,200. And now without tax, it's $7,200. It just goes up and up and up, and it's a classic, right? The mini Lady Dior bag in black. So it's always going to be in, it's always going to be a staple. And the price just keeps rising. So I was kind of like, oh, do I sell it? Do I not? Even though I had it on these sites. And then I actually got 2 offers on Poshmark. And you know, if you know how Poshmark works, it's like they send an offer, and then if you accept it, their payment goes through. Like their credit card is ready to like capture that purchase. And I declined the purchase where I would receive, not just because I think they would pay $3,500, but Poshmark takes a cut. So I would receive $2,800, and I was like, you know what? I know that's a good chunk of money, but that's quite a bit less than I was expecting. I had some negotiation room because I just, again, had no feelings for the purse. But I was like, you know, at that price, I'd rather keep it. But again, I was skeptical. And then I think she offered again the same price because she didn't want to negotiate, this person on Poshmark. And then I declined it. So I was like, darn. I was like, I always was kind of thinking, should I have taken the 2,800? I got a couple offers on Facebook, but they were around the same price. They might have been 2,900. I don't know. They were 2,800, and I was trying to negotiate with them. Anyways, the market price seemed like it was 2,800, and I was like, you know what? So that's why I've had it on sale. I've had it like posted for months, but I haven't since I think March. So April, May, June, July, August, for 5 months, but I haven't sold it. Okay. So after I did this mantra, literally 10 minutes later, God, I'm open to receiving money in any and in all ways that you would want me to receive it. I'm not being picky about where it's coming from. I'm not being closed-minded about it. Boom. Within 10 minutes, I get that ping on Facebook Messenger. I look. It's this girl, and she says, hi, I actually have been considering buying this purse like brand new, but then I noticed that you have it, and she's also in the city I'm in. And I'll just be honest about the city I'm in right now. I'm not from here. It's not the kind of city where you see people wearing designer purses. Even though I'm right in the city, it's a very modest and down-to-earth city. It's not that people don't have money. I mean, it's not the lifestyle here, you know? So I'm kind of a fish out of water here. And so I didn't expect necessarily that it would sell via Facebook Marketplace, which is local, right? Like a local meetup. And I thought it would sell probably on like Poshmark. Somewhere else in Canada or in the US, I also posted in Poshmark America. And which is actually funny because I assumed, because there's so many more people in the US, that, oh my gosh, definitely the buyer will be American. I actually had it at my boyfriend's place for the last 2-3 months. So that's also why I wasn't really open to selling it. So even though it's been posted for 5 months, I was like not really open for selling it for 3 months because I didn't really want him to ship it to me. Anyways, long story short, he ended up shipping it to me because we hadn't seen each other for a while. And I was just like, you know what, just send the purse back. Anyways, and so I get this ding, this girl, she's like, hi, I've been looking to buy this purse, which is very unusual, was gonna buy it brand new, never considered buying it secondhand because I usually, you know, I've never bought a secondhand purse. It sounded like she had never bought a secondhand luxury purse. And she said, but, you know, I'm interested because like the price right now, like I said, it's $7,200 and mine was listed for $4,000. And she's like, are you negotiable? And at this point, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really mind people asking me because I just think, you know, the person's gonna pay what they're gonna pay. And I had already made a bunch of declines at like $2,800. So I was like, you know, it's posted for $4,000. I said, well, I think I said, what do you have in mind? And I think she was nervous to say a price because some people, they get insulted. So she said something like, well, like what would be your like lowest? And I said, well, just to give you an idea, I had some offers at about $3,000. I had two serious offers, and I said I declined them because at that point I'd rather just keep the purse. So I said I think my absolute lowest would be $3,500. So that's like $700 more than, you know, what I was potentially gonna let it go for just like a month or two ago. So I had it posted for $4,000. The best offer I got was $2,800, and then I told her $3,500, and she's like, okay. She's like, well, she's kind of skeptical, but she's like, well, I'm gonna come Monday to come look at it. And she says, do you have the receipt? And I told her I also got it professionally cleaned for like it was $295. I got it professionally clean. It didn't really look like it needed cleaning, but I just felt like, you know what, this is going to send out the right energy. I'm getting it clean. I'm not going to want to use it after, and it's going to a new home, like brand new for them, even though it's not a brand new purse. So I like the idea of getting it professionally clean. This is a business that specializes in cleaning and just doing minor fixes on luxury designer purses. That's why it's so expensive. So yeah, so anyways, so she was like, I'm gonna come Monday. So we talked on like Saturday, and she's like, I'm gonna come Monday at this time. And do you have the receipt for the purse? Can I have the, if I buy it, can I have the receipt for the purse? And can I have the receipt for like the bag spa you brought it to? And I'm like getting a little bit annoyed because I get irritated easily. That's something I'm trying to work on. I'm kind of like, do you have to keep the receipts? Like, can you just not look at them if I have them? And like, why would you need the receipt for cleaning, you know? But I'm like, you know what, Sheenie? This may be your way that God is allowing this to happen, that you are going to get a chunk of money, you know? So I was like, you know what, Sheenie, you don't need those receipts. Like, once the bag's gone, it's literally transferring from your ownership to hers. So just let her have everything. Makes her feel good about it. If she ever resells it, she can show it was bought at this like Christian Dior store on this date. You know, it's clear and simple. And, you know, I will say there's very, very few people who actually have the original receipt. When they're selling, they usually use like Zico, like authenticity, just to prove it's real. But it's like a receipt, like receipt is gold. And I wish I would buy more handbags secondhand online if they actually had their receipts, but very few do. And I don't know whether it's because like people just throw out receipts, but then again, like it was such an expensive item, you know, and like authenticity is so important for these items. Or I don't know whether most of these people aren't actually purchasing it themselves, you know, maybe it's a husband, a boyfriend, you know, they actually didn't buy it so that they never had possession of the receipt. I don't know. But mine had everything, you know, it was in not like new condition, I would say like very good condition. And I literally had everything. The original bag came in with the gold Dior star. I had the box. I can show some photos. I had the box, I had the ribbons, I had the dust bag, I had the little pocket that held the chains that said DIOR, had the charms, I had obviously the chain, I had the authenticity card, I had the receipt, I had the receipt for the bag spa, right? I had like everything. So like she could be assured. And really, when somebody's buying an expensive item like that, everything you have, like, why not give it to them, you know? Because even in you trying to get a sale, you know, even though you're like, I'm the one receiving, really, you're giving first, right? Like, that's how your mentality should be. Why not be generous to her? So I'm like, okay, Sheenie, like, snap out of it. So I just was like, instead of being difficult, being like, because I actually didn't know where the bag spa receipt was, but I was like, I know I can find it. And if I can't find it by chance, I know I can message the owner of the bag spa, and I know she would send it to me. I have like the dates and everything of when I was there. So I was like, you know, instead of just like being like, oh, I don't have like the bag spa receipt, but I can probably find it. She's like, can I have the receipt for the receipt for the person? Can I have the bag spa receipt? I just simply said, yes, you can. Like, you know what? This is still customer service. And you know what? In order to receive, it's just like a business. In order to receive a lot, you actually need to give a lot. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna give. So I was like, yes, I can, you know, just making everything easy for her as possible. Monday comes, I message her in the morning because I was like, well, we'll see if she actually comes, right? Like maybe she's flaky. I don't know. I didn't even look at her photo on her profile. Like I didn't try to study her at all. I just knew her name, right? And I said just an hour and a half before she came, hey, will you still be coming at this time? And she's like, yeah, I'm actually just supposed to leave the house. I might be there earlier. And then I was like, oh, and again, I'm starting to, oh, and then she goes, do you think that I could spend at least 15 minutes with the person? And mentally, I'm like, Sheenie, again, you want to be generous and make this easy for her because it's a big purchase. Even though she's getting this purse for over half off what she would get in store for and no tax, this is a big purchase, period. And you want to sell this purse and you have prayed to God and you've already manifested that you were going to get this money. Oh, and that's what I said last night before I forget. I said, God, please help this manifestation to become true. Tomorrow, I will sell this purse to this lady for $3,500. It will go through tomorrow. I really got that in my spirit. And I said that to myself the night before, like probably the day of, because it was like I went to bed kind of late. It was like 12:30. Anyways, woke up the next morning. We have the exchange. She says she's going to come by message. And she says, I just want to be with the purse. I just want to look at the purse for 15 minutes. So I was like, okay. And so then I'm like, oh gosh, I'm thinking about my 2.5-year-old. I'm like, oh gosh, she's not going to be able to sit still. And then she's like, where do you want to meet? Like she meant like maybe come up to my place or in the lobby. And I was thinking, it's probably going to be safer just because I don't know her. Let's do it in the lobby. But then I'm thinking my son's not going to have his toys. And then he's just going to be running around. There's like a fountain there. And then is he going to be bothering her? And so then I was like, oh gosh, this is making it really inconvenient that, she wants to spend 15 minutes with the purse, because 15 minutes for an adult, no problem. 15 minutes for a toddler. And when you're watching them, it's a whole different story. I'm sure many of you know. So I'm like, so then I start being difficult, which I tend to like to do. And I actually message her and I'm like, I'm thinking, do you think you can come at this time instead? Even though we've set this time for the last 2 days, can you come this time instead? I'm thinking with my toddler, I should drop him off at daycare. And even though it all sounds legit, I know I'm being difficult. And then literally within 60 seconds, I just snapped out of it. I was just like, Sheenie, why are you starting to sabotage yourself? You're starting to sabotage yourself. This is a large transaction. You have manifested this, you and God, because it's not me. It's not just me. I'm not capable. You have manifested in collaboration with God, this person coming to buy your purse tomorrow, spending the full $3,500, and you literally just asked God to bring in money in any and in all ways. And it's literally lined up here. She just has to come. And this is a big transaction and you're being difficult to the client, basically, when you could handle your son. Snapped out of it 60 seconds later. You know what? I'm going to occupy him the best I can. Lol. No worries. I'll see you at 9:30 a.m. She comes right on time. The second I see her, I'm like, okay, yeah, like I'm understanding, because she suits the purse. The purse suits her. She's very sophisticated. She's a mom of 2 young ones, but she even though she has young kids, she's beautiful. She takes care of herself. She's all in black. She just suited the aesthetic of the purse, regardless of the outfit and the color she was wearing. It was just perfect. And so, I didn't want to say that, but I was just like, okay, yeah, I see how this is lining up for me by God, and how my manifestation might come true. However, okay, so I put the bag in the box and the box in the bag, so that when she walked into the lobby with me, like I held the door open for her and everything, I just wanted her to feel comfortable. My son was there. She, boom, sees the bag and the little star hanging from it, because they said this is a gift from Dior. I remember that. I wish I would have taken a picture of it, but it was just like those doors opened, and then there's the beautiful table, there's the fountain, and then there's her bags, right? As if, it's waiting for her to purchase, which I'm hoping she does. I don't know, right? And so she is like, oh, and I see her, and I'm watching her unbox, and trying not to watch her too much because I don't want her to feel uncomfortable, no pressure. And I just think, God, and I keep telling myself, God, you said this is going to, happen today at the price that I discussed with her, $3,500. It's a lot of money. So I'm like, you know what? There's nothing more I need to do other than to just make it easy for her by just sitting there patiently, not being pushy. God, we said that this would happen, and you have blessed me in so many other ways before. It will happen. So there's really nothing for me to do. So I'm watching her unbox it. Okay, right away. She takes it out of the bag. Oh, I thought it would be bigger. So I'm like, ugh, sale's not going through. So I go, yeah, it's the mini. And you know, there's really nothing I can say to that. She thought it was going to be bigger, it's going to be bigger. But I did say this. And in all honesty, when I was at the Christian Dior store in 2021, looking at that purse, I was between, and I said this to her, I said, you know, I was between the mini size and the small size. And I said, I like the idea of the small size because you could fit more. But I said, for my stature, because I'm quite petite, and you know, she was too. She was a little bit like taller and bigger than me, but she was pretty petite, you know. I said, for my stature, the small just did not work. As much as I wanted it to work, it just didn't look good. And I said, to be honest, there's not a big price difference between the mini and the small. It's minuscule for like, you're already spending so much money. It's like, it's honestly just a few $100s, I believe. Might be more now, but it's not a whole lot more money. So it wasn't really about the money when you're already spending that kind of money. You want what you want. But it wasn't even about just what my brain thought was practical, what I thought I wanted. When I put on that size small, it just looked huge. Like it was like, and you can wear it like a top handle, or you can wear it like a crossbody, and it would jut out the side of my hip, and it just didn't fit. You know, it was like me and then this huge purse jutting out, like it was like a lunchbox almost, but not in a good way. And so I said, yeah, it just was like really awkward. And I said, the other thing about the mini that I really like, and I said, just go into the purse, you can grab it out. It has the chain handle, which is like really pretty. And it's like kind of more like, makes it more trendy. Whereas like, I would say the Lady Dior purse is a classic, you know? So I like that there's that aspect where you can make it trendy by putting on, you know, the crossbody chain, or you can take it off and use it like a small top handle. So she's like, she's kind of like, yeah, she said it a couple more times. I thought it'd be bigger. And I'm like, shoot. And then I'm like, wait a second. Who am I to challenge God? God said it was going to happen. We prayed about it. I said, God, please help me for this to happen. God comes through with me. And there's no reason God wouldn't want me to have this money on this day, like we talked about, you know? And so I'm like, you know what? God's got it. So I'm just quiet, and you know, she's looking for 10 minutes, and she goes, and then I say to her, and I'm kind of glad I thought about this, right? I said, you know, speaking of like looking in the mirror, you know, to see if it suits you, because she started asking me questions like, how do you like decide what purse you want? Or like, what's your favorite purse right now? Like, I think she was trying to, because the thing is, a woman that will buy a designer purse, that's a different kind of woman. And is it a matter of having money or not having money? Yes and no. Like, obviously, if you don't have a certain amount of money, unless you're willing to go into debt, which some people are, but even then you would need a really good amount of credit. You know, like some people, they don't have more than $5,000 credit. You can't buy the purse. Not going to happen amongst your other living expenses that you may be putting on your credit card. So yes, it is about money, and that's in the practical sense, but it also isn't, because I know a lot of people that have money. Yeah, maybe they receive these purses by gifts. They would never purchase. They would never spend this amount of money to purchase a designer handbag for themselves. They just wouldn't. So we're a certain breed, and obviously she knows I'm her breed, you know? And I know she's my breed because I can see she's not just like a one-off of designer purses. This isn't just her first one, something she would never do, just some wild dream she has. No, she has on like a really nice, newer Louis Vuitton purse. I don't know what the type is. It's a newer, like it had the camel and brown, like LVs all over it. But it was just like a bit of a newer design, because they're always like altering their designs. But it was just beautiful. It was classic. It would be at least, you know, $4,500, $4,000, let's say, you know. So she's recognizing herself in me, and I'm recognizing myself in her. So she's asking me these questions. And I know it's not just to kill time. She's like, oh, how do you decide, you know, the purse that you, how do you decide like if you love the purse or not? And I said, you know, it's a feeling for me. Like, does it bring me joy? It's an intuition, honestly. And I said, but sometimes there have been times, I said, when I will try the purse on and I really thought I wanted it. And when I look at it, when I look at myself in the mirror with it on, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't work. It doesn't look good. The purse itself looks good. I look good together, not a match. And she's like, oh, and I said, oh, so speaking of, I said, if you want to look it's like almost like a down selling point, because I'm like, doesn't look good on you. If you don't think it looks good on you, you shouldn't buy it. But I was just being honest. And then I was like, yeah. And I said, because we weren't in my apartment, we were in the lobby. I said, and if you want to see the mirror, there's a gym right there. I just got to let you into it with my fob. But yeah, you're welcome to see it, because I could see there was 2 full-length mirrors there. So I'm really happy I thought of that. So she walks in, there's a woman working, and she's like, yeah, I want to go like see in the mirror. I said, sure. And then there's a woman working out beside the 2 full-length mirrors. So I said, you can look there, but in case she felt self-conscious, I said, there's also a bathroom right there and you can look, and it had like really good lighting and stuff. So she went in. Yeah, I know, a bathroom with good lighting. It's like, it's not like a public bathroom washroom, right? It's more like a nice, like larger apartment washroom that happens to be in the gym. So she looks at it and she's there for a while, and, my child's trying to dart in with her. And so I was like, we'll just be outside, like in the lobby, just so that she has time with it and whatever. I didn't want her to feel rushed. And she comes back and she's studying it more, and she goes, she didn't make a comment about how it looked on her. And she goes, this part is just really, really bothering me. And I said, what part? Because I'm like, I got it clean, like it should be perfect, pretty much perfect. And so I walk over and she points to it, and I was like, oh, and I don't see what she's talking about. And she's like, do you see, because it's canage stitching, right? So it's just canage stitching, it's called, right? That's what Dior calls it. It's like kind of this crisscross stitching in the lambskin. It's very pretty. I love it. It's very classy. And so, yeah, sure enough, I can see it. I'm not going to say I don't see it, but they have not made it straight. So it's going slightly upwards. So the leather material at the bottom that's like blank and not stitched, it's like that. So I was like, oh, I said, honestly, I never noticed it, because I didn't. I never did. So I said, honestly, I never noticed it. But I said, yeah, I can see what you mean. And I said, to be honest, I said, when I was considering to buy a Chanel, I went to the Chanel store. I looked at a bunch of Chanels, and I said, you wouldn't believe it, because Chanel's like a cut above the rest in cost. And I said, you wouldn't believe it, but like all of these purses that I was looking at, I don't know if it's just because the ones left on the floor weren't very good, but just it was the way they were made. It wasn't by damage. I said, you wouldn't believe it. These Chanel purses, they were all flawed, like asymmetrical, like very noticeably stitching off this, that. So I said, yeah, I get it. I said, I just honestly never noticed that, because it's black leather on black stitching, right? And it's on the side too. She's like, yeah. And I said, to be honest, because she goes, like even though like they're the same purses, every single one is different. So I always inspect things. And I said, oh, for sure, no 2 things are the same. Like no 2 things, like our whole faces are asymmetrical, like, I mean, God didn't even make us like symmetrical, right? I didn't say that portion, but I said, yeah, I said, to be honest, I said, they all are going to have something small, because it's just true. It's just true. And she goes, yeah. And so I was like, and again, I'm like, God, you know what? Doesn't feel like it's going to happen, but how dare I challenge you? And she says it again. She's studying it for another 5 minutes, says it again. And she goes, yeah, but she goes, the thing I keep thinking is, if I bought this purse in store today, I would be paying, she goes, isn't it like about 7,000? I said, yeah, I checked the website recently. It's 7,200 before tax. And I said, you saw how much I paid for it back then? It was like, I don't know, 5,800. I said, it's gone up so much. And she goes, I know, and they haven't changed anything except maybe the color of the lining. And I said, honestly, I said, I prefer to buy all my bags secondhand if I can. I said, I clearly didn't do that with this one. But yeah, I said, I know. And she's like, yeah. And then she's like, and the thing is, I was actually like wanting this purse exactly. And she's like, what are the chances that someone in this city, which again, this is a city that is not sophisticated like that. It's not a fashionista city, no hate to the city. It's just not. She's like, you wouldn't be able to find this here. And I said, yeah, because it's, where we live, not, where her and I are from different places. And in those cities, there's a lot of girls wearing designer purses, She's like, yeah. And then just seconds later, she's like, so it's like, I don't know what's gonna happen. It's like, but God, you said it was gonna happen. We said it was gonna happen, and we decided it, and it's gonna happen. My manifestation is gonna come. And yeah, she's just a few seconds later. So I brought 3,000 cash, and if it's okay, I'm gonna e-transfer you the remaining 500. And I was like, okay, no problem. And so she goes, could I get your email? And then she's like, you just type it in for me. And I did. She's asking me about my name and the heritage. And then she's like, sends it, and she goes, check it. And then I check, my child's playing on my phone, but I quickly check it. It's gone through. And then out of her purse, out of her Louis Vuitton purse, comes her envelope. The envelope, and she's like, just count it. It's $3,000. Counted it. I said, yeah, thank you. And we chatted a little bit more, and the purse was hers. That was that. She just walked out of my place, like my building, like it was a store. Just like, yeah, it's really cool. Just like purse and box and bag. And I just wanted to, video diary this because it's been only several hours, but it is so easy for us to forget how powerful our minds are and how powerful God is. And I, even though, yes, I had this purse up for 5 months and, it should be bound to sell at some point, think about the timing. Think about the timing of like, me doing that mantra. I got the message 10 minutes later. God and I decided together, once we got her message the night before she came, we were going to sell it tomorrow for $3,500. I forgot to say one thing that's really important. As she was telling me about the flaw for the second or third time, how the stitching went upwards, I was like, I want the sale to go through. I decided today I'm getting $3,500 for this purse. And I wanted to just tip it over. I want to just push it into the yes zone. And so what nearly came out of my mouth, I actually think my mouth opened and then I closed it. I nearly said to her, you know what, if you would feel better, I'll knock off a couple hundred. Like, we'll make it like 32 or 3,300. I almost said this. But you know what stopped me? I was like, no, Sheenie, because that would be going against God. Me and God had a very, very particular conversation just last night that you were going to sell this purse today, not just today, but you were going to sell this purse today for $3,500. So if you down negotiate yourself, which she's not even asking you to do, it's not even a flaw you did on the purse, it's just the way it came, then yeah, you would only be fulfilling one part of the agreement between you and God. I do not want to be disobedient. I wanted to sell the purse so bad that I was only going to get one half of what I wanted. Even though $3,200 is a great amount, it's like, I just don't want to work against God. He said it was going to happen. So I almost did that. I wanted to just tip, like it was at a tipping point. I wanted to just shove it just a little bit. I wanted to just nudge it, just slash off $200-$300. But I'm really glad I didn't. So the only other thing that I want to say is this, that just me going along with like the timing that, this customer wanted, and just, being patient, not being pushy, not over complimenting her, not asking tons of questions, what she thought of the purse, just basically not asking anything, just letting her be. The thing she did say to me after, like, I had the envelope in my hand and, the e-transfer had gone through and I handed her the purse, was that she said that, by the way, thank you so much for making me feel like comfortable, for just like letting me take my time. And I said, yeah, like no problem, like it's a big purchase. And that just, to me, that meant a lot. Like, yeah, I got the money and, that's what I manifested. But it just went to show that even in this whole transaction process, it was like, in order for me to get what I wanted, to gain what I'm like, was said to have manifested, there was lessons in that God was showing me, like be patient, be easygoing, be humble, like serve others. And it for me, those were, it sounds just like small things maybe to one person, but for me it's a lot because I have a tendency to want to make things difficult and to just be like, oh, they made it difficult for me, so let me make it difficult for them. And so, the fact that she said that to me, it's like, it's funny because the thing that tipped over the sale, it turns out was that. It wasn't me slashing off money and me actually getting less than I had manifested for myself. It was actually just being disciplined. And for me, being disciplined is not being difficult, honestly, and just being kind and being patient and being like just a bit yielding. Like, it doesn't kill me, you know, it's not hurting me, so why not? And so that actually meant a lot when she said that, because I knew that I had like overcome the challenges that, and God saw that, and I knew that, and that made me really happy too. And it's just amazing, like, to God be the glory, literally. And so I just don't want to forget. I want to make this diary because I just don't want to forget, like, how powerful, like, you know, your agreements with God are, and like how manifestation does work when you genuinely pray and ask for something and, you know, make a statement about it. Anyways, that's all I got for today. I'll see you guys on the next one.